Hello. So, I wanted to make a video on some of the knives I've made. I made these basically because I had certain ideas of what I wanted, but they weren't really available on the market. And it's kind of to say to why it's better to make your own knives in some ways than to just go out and buy one. So it's time consuming, but it's you end up getting little by little you end up getting what you want, better than just going out and buying it. So I started off with this one, and so you can see that. There we go. So the handle is cast silver. It's 99.9% pure silver, so it's soft. It's not really all that hard, but uh, sterling silver tarnishes with time, and this basically the way you see it is how it's gonna stay forever, I suppose. And I made this one first out of the three I have here. The reason I made it was because there's I think it's World War I, a trench knife that I really admired, and it has brass knuckles. I don't know if well, any of you guys are familiar with it, but it's basically that, but without the top part, the knuckle part. I looked at it and I decided it would be like a very nice handle if even if it didn't have the knuckle part. So what I did was I contoured it to my hand. It's actually supposed to be for my right hand. Contoured it to my right hand. Spaced out the finger groups for specifically for my hand. And I made a wax mold first. And once I got it down to what I wanted it, I basically casted it, and then added this design on it too later on. So this is it's epoxied into it, and then I use brass rivets, flatten them out, keep the knife there. This is a CPM 3V. They're actually all CPM 3V, and they're all I had them hardened professionally to 60 to 61 Rockwell hardness, which is supposed to be ideal for this type of steel. So I don't know if you can see it. I actually made it a little bit thinner in the center. Wanted to keep the tip a little bit robust, and I left the tip a little bit thicker than the rest. Just thicker than the center. So the idea behind this knife is I wanted something that was thin, and you can still that still penetrates stuff, but that you can chop with. So if you have a knife that's thin, the weight of it doesn't really let you chop with it. But since I put this weight on it, and the way it's balanced there, like right where the first finger is. It feels like a chopper basically. Since you have all this weight and the way it's balanced, it feels like a chopper, but it still has a very very thin knife. I mean thin blade, and it can do everything the thin blade can, but can also chop. But the thing is, it's also more fragile since thinner. So, here's the second knife I made. Uh, just have you look at it. All of these are full tang. Um, this is a thicker piece. So what I wanted with this was the idea behind this one. I want sort of like a chef knife, something I can chop with. um, but I can also cook with. So kind of like a camp knife slash chef knife, and a little bit self protection, I guess, or self defense, I guess is the right word term for it. So I decided to make a wood handle on this one. This is Fire Elder Box Burl, and it's stabilized, so it won't really absorb water. And I used rivets; they're copper rivets. The pattern came out really nice on this one. It's just kind of look at the draw. You kind of look at the pieces of wood you have, and then you just when you epoxy them to the handle, you kind of have an idea how it's going to turn out. But this one came out really nice. So I put a hand guard on this one. If it was going to be for self defense, also it's like a jack of many trades. I wanted to put a hand guard, so I did that. But the thing is, I still wanted to have a part of the blade that goes has a distance away from your hand, so when you do chop, you can actually chop with it. And so this hand guard sticks out as far as the blade does on this side. I wanted to put something for your thumb, like a grip on top. And I did that with try to make a design on it. See if you can see it better. It's not coming out too good. Kind of, I guess. So I did that with a file, two types of file, a triangle and a circular, a round file, I mean. So, and here's the copper. It's a copper handguard. You see on the bottom where the bottom of the blade is. So the handguard actually goes into, it's flush with the bottom of the blade too. Well, I rounded the top here too also. And I did that so that you can put your one hand on top while you're rocking it. That's the other thing too, the shape of the blade has a swoop. So you can rock it too while you're cutting something. And came out nice, I think. It's a lot thicker than the other one, like I mentioned. Very, very forward heavy. About there. So I mean, for chopping, it is a chopper. And I decided to make the handle into sort of a triangle shape, so that it doesn't fly out of your hands or doesn't. So it gives you a good grip, even though it's a straight handle on both sides, but it is triangular. And last, I wanted to make this is my third one. I wanted to make sort of like a fighting knife. I mean, no one really uses fighting knives. I mean, so, but I wanted to make something that you could, I mean, in my mind, would be the perfect fighting knife. And I know nothing about fighting knives. I just to let you know. I mean, I don't know anything about fighting with a knife. I mean, I don't want to know. I don't want to go through the process to learn. I guess practice or something wouldn't be so bad, but I don't want to be in a knife fight. So, for this one, so cutting is this is the same thickness actually, the same thickness as the other one I showed you. And I don't know the number for this, but this is around probably like 5 millimeters thick. It's also full tang, as you can see. Same type of design for the handguard. And so I wanted something that could cut when you swing. So something that cuts very easily. This is sort of like the design that Cold Steel has for their, I think they call it Nogales, or their they have these folding knives that have the same sort of swoop. It's like an S shape. So if I hold it straight, so this is the handle straight, it has a sort of swoop here. You can see it goes up and down like has a concave. And then this where it hits, and then this would do the cutting. Would add to the cutting. The top two is also sharpened, and I gave that a swoop, but I kept the point straight from where your hand is. So that swoop goes kind of straight here. Now the top is a little bit curved too, sort of not exactly like a karambit, but it's curved also, which lets you also cut. It's supposed to be for a backstroke. So forward stroke, it adds to the cut, and then the backstroke, that curvature helps too. This one, the design of it, I wanted to have this little thin part here for the handle, and I couldn't use wood. It'd be too fragile, since it's not that thick. It's not much of material here, so I used brass instead. I used a much thicker piece. Well, not much thicker. It's a little bit slightly thicker piece than the copper, slightly thicker. And for the handle, use I think it's pronounced amboina wood. So this is these with this and this wood too. That's how it looks naturally. This is the natural color of it. Let me hold it still if you can see the pattern. It's really nice wood. I mean, it's naturally hard, but both of them are stabilized, which helps for durability. So the shape of this blade, the shape of this handle, the reason I want it this way is when you're holding it, it puts a lot of the pressure here. So when you do hit something, the pressure is like you can take a pretty hard strike to the hand. I mean, when you use the blade and hit something, it'll add a lot of. It distributes the pressure pretty good. You have everything here in the shape of your hand is distributed pretty well. I gave this handle a belly too, so on the part where your hand does grab it, it's pretty comfortable. It kind of locks it in there. This little divot here helps with your index finger. So use rivets too. These are just brass rivets. The handle has brass rivets too. This one came out, you can see it a lot. This one you can barely see it, and there's a small 1/16 rivet that I put there, and that one's not that visible. On the other side, it's a lot better. I don't know what happened with this one. Probably would have made the hole. I think the drill press I used, probably I started it off wrong. So the way it's balanced, it came out perfect, I think. I mean, for me at least. It's right here. It's right where the handguard is. It's hard to show. It's right where the handguard is. I can't really balance my my finger on the handguard, but it's right there basically, just right in between. So from where I started to this, I've been able to basically make what was in my head a lot better. I mean, to be able to produce it a lot more accurately than the time before. And I think this one is probably the closest representative of what I had in mind, and the end product I got. And then just on the last note, you have, one of the things I like the most is that there's certain things that you can't really replicate after you make something. Even if I wanted to, I mean, it wouldn't come out the same. So there's something unique to each knife once you make it, if you hand make it. So I mean, this one I drew something. And I mean, if anybody sees this video, I'll just let you guys guess what it is. Do something on the handle. I mean, I won't be able to recreate that again. Not exactly the same. This one, just the handle of it. This came out super nice. And this part right here. So I just chose the part, I just wanted more white on this side than I did on this side. And the way I chose it, I stuck it there on a certain way so that I figured that this end would be white. And here where the rivets are, you can see that the red from this side started bleeding through, but it bled through right. It didn't bleed through, but I grinded to the level where it was red, to the point at where the rivets were. So it looks, if you look at it, it looks really nice. You have the two rivets and there's red coming out where there's white. And then last, this one. This pattern here, I don't know if you can tell or if you can see it too well. It's there's these lines. It kind of looks like, not the grind lines, but these little lines that go down from the blade. And they kind of look, I mean, the camera doesn't get it that well, but they kind of look like as if the blade was kind of wet a little bit, as if it had little water droplets. And that actually happened when I went to grind the blade to the shape the shape I wanted. And the grinder, the belt skidded on there. So I was grinding it, and I think it skidded when I put it up against here, and it skidded, so it basically did this, kind of like flexed and then unflexed. And I mean, I'm guessing here that's what happened. That's what kind of seems what happened. And it made those signs. I mean, those marks, which I think is a plus. I mean, so just wanted to share with you guys. Video quality isn't all that great, but just wanted to show you guys what some of the things that's kind of fun to do, and I mean the reasons why you would want to make your own. I personally haven't seen any blade like this. I mean, except this one, I suppose. But I haven't seen any blades like this personally that are fixed blades. The design, I mean, they have them in swords and stuff like that, but I haven't seen any for sale that are fixed blades. And chef knife, that's like, I mean, I guess a chef knife, but I mean something that's like, you know, this thick. And made out of these materials, or I don't want to get too specific or narrow down the scope of something so much that, I mean, it's obviously won't exist, but just a knife this shape, that's not like a kitchen knife, just a kitchen knife. I haven't seen anything like this or like this, but I guess the World War I trench knife would be something like this. So okay, um, this video isn't going to be edited much, so hopefully it comes out okay. All right, bye.